Thank you for the nice introduction. It's good to see so many people out here tonight. Yeah, so, spring, finally! I am like so happy. It is just wonderful. Oh my God, I've forgotten about it. It is so nice. It was actually, it's like, you know, people are finally like out with their t-shirts and relaxing a little bit. I saw this the other day, you know, I'm one of those people, like if I get a chance to wear shorts or sandals, I'm doing it. I don't care, 68 degrees, I'll do it. I've been freezing all winter. I like to feel comfortable. But the craziest thing I saw was there was this one kid I saw who had like the cut kind of a muscle tee, this kind of like frat boy guy, and he had a shirt on that said Rush SDT. And I'm like, oh, God damn it, man. It's like the latest venereal disease causes dyslexia? Yeah, good to see you guys are all laughing. Some people are, you know, doing pretty well. Like I said, it's spring. My dad, unfortunately, he had a rough winter. He got his house remodeled, and things went well at first. He got a really good electrician, worked great. Got a really good carpenter. This carpenter fixed everything. Unfortunately, the house painter he hired turned out to be a cubist. So the place looks great, but now there's a toilet in the kitchen, and my dad's bed is on the roof. Yeah. I said I would like to relax. I was at a party a couple weeks ago, and I like to go to parties where I don't know anybody. I like to just meet new people. I'm a very open guy. So I'm just like talking to all these people, and there was a group of people. They were all dressed in black, and it turned out they were all anarchists at this party. And I'll talk to anybody, you know. I like the works of Bakunin and Kropotkin just like anybody else, so decided to have a conversation with these people. They're both anarchists. So I'm meeting with all of them, and they're just like, we're talking. So finally one of them looks at me and is like, Shawn, you know, you seem like a pretty smart guy, pretty on the ball. What's your solution for the class struggle? I'm like, well, you know, I just always made friends with the kid who took better notes. Cool, well, I'm not much of a gambling man, but I actually invented a new form of gambling the other week. It's called threat betting. See, here's what you do. You go onto your Facebook page, and you put on an article about either Israel or Palestine, and you start taking bets till how long till the comment thread gets racist. I tend to be risky with my money, so I'll go to 4 comments. Most of my friends only want to do the safe bet, so they stop at 2. So I'm glad you guys are laughing. Like I said, with a bunch of the comics, we all decided to do a feminist show last night. There was a big open mic, and they were saying, anybody's welcome to come. Chelsea was there, Keshav, he was there, and it was actually pretty chill. Actually, no, I'm lying. I was the comic they liked the most, it seemed, because they laughed the most at my jokes, and it was 10 minutes of being hate-fucked by a crowd with your eyes. Like, people just looking at me, ha ha! That for 7 minutes. And I'm like a pretty open guy. Like, I was making jokes that were puns on the patriarchy, and they're like, you can just see everybody in the audience is like thinking, okay, can we laugh about this? Well, it's a pun, so it's putting it down, but it's still mentioning the patriarchy, so maybe he actually likes it. I don't know. And it was just this for just the entire set. Everybody just looking. One of the other comedians, Marlon, made a joke where he said, kids are so lazy today that they send a suicide note in emojis. Ha ha. A girl stood up. Hey, I know where you're coming from, but that's not really cool here. If that's the kind of comedy you're bringing, you just need to take a hike, mister. That ain't what we're about in this place. So that was basically 2 hours last night of different comedians. And you know, it's like, you know, I'll say, yeah, I'm a feminist, I support equal rights. If there's a legislation, some right that women do not have, and you put it before me, I will vote to give them that right. I can't always be perfect up on every single terminology, which sometimes just offends some of these people. They're like dogmatic in a different way. But I'm really open, and I like a lot of bands. In fact, Chelsea was right here. Last night afterwards, we were just talking, and we're just talking about like some bands we like, even like feminist rock, and you know, Joan Jett, who started in the 70s, like kind of like the predecessor to a lot of female punk, and we were mentioning, you know, some other bands we like that were more famous during the Riot Grrrl movement in the 90s, Slater Kinney, Bikini Kill, and so we were getting that, and then we both discovered that we were both into the same pretty obscure feminist punk band, Hyman with 2 Ys. What's also good is we both liked, that band eventually had to break up. They couldn't all work together, but they kept the music, music kept flowing, and they were formed into Menstrual with a Y. Good to see folks, I'm happy. So, you know, like I said, we're all here playing. We're in New Jersey, which I don't know if you're familiar. They recently changed New Jersey's state motto to, it wasn't our first choice either. Cool. But yeah, people always working things. A friend of mine, Tony, he owns a movie theater out in Princeton, and he was telling me that he switched his movie theater recently to all digital projectors. And I'm like, Tony, why'd you do that? He's like, Shawn, I just can't keep living in the real world. But yeah, reality, fantasy. Sometimes, you know, you get caught in memory, you get tied up. I remember there was one teacher I had in middle school, Miss Andre. She never really seemed to like any of the boys. So if any of you follow the news, you probably seen the bullshit law that got passed in Indiana this week.
In Arkansas, almost.
Yeah, Arkansas, they almost did it, and then the guy's son, apparently, who was like the first person who ever spoke to him, like, you know, gays aren't that bad. Really? My son told me that gays aren't that bad, so I decided to vote against this law. Like, it's conservatives have this thing that they're incredibly bigoted till they like meet somebody in the group, and then they're like, oh, someone different than me is also a human being. What a shock. What always gets to me is that like people who are backing it up are like still, you know, really enthusiastic, and they're like really supporting the guy and the governor of Indiana who put this, a guy named Mike Pence. Now, to begin with, I think a lot of his insecurity goes back to his name. Because what does Pence mean? It's a really fancy British way of saying penny. And nobody was going to take Mike Penny seriously. Just his whole life, he knew he was Mike Penny, and he tried to, no, I'm Mike Pence. Like, you know when people try to pronounce the last vowel of a word differently to sound important? Oh, I'm going to Target, not Target. So that's what he was doing his whole life. I mean, maybe if he'd been named Mike Dollar, it wouldn't have been this problem. But no, he was Mike Pence, and he stuck with this his whole life. Now, the reason I don't like him is whenever I see like an older guy with this like bleached blonde hair and perfect smile and a business suit, I don't think security. I think of every evil mega capitalist villain in every science fiction dystopia I've ever watched. Like if you watch, you know, Blade Runner or The Matrix or Hunger Games, there's always just like a really old guy, perfect big smile in a suit, is like, press the button and flood Sector 4. We shall crush this revolution and the Omega Project will live on!
Or Nazi Germany.
Okay. Now, I don't know if you know how comedy works. We consider it a failure if we go for the Nazi joke in our set. So, yeah, that's why I didn't do that reference. But thank you, Sid. My friend everyone, Sid, give him a hand. He wants to participate? No, man, it's cool, it's cool. But what gets to me when I see all these people trying to defend this law is they try to be like, no, man, well, you know, you gotta respect the Christians' rights, because, man, intolerance goes both ways. And people always love to say this excuse when they don't want to take a decision. Hey, man, I'm just against the extremists on both sides. You know, it's the same. And I'm like, you know, I really don't think it is. Here's why. There's never been any kid ever at a high school who comes running home one day. He's all crying. His clothes are messed up. He's like got a, you know, bloody lip. And his parents once was like, what's wrong? I don't want to talk about it. Tell us what's wrong. He's just like, okay, so this is what happened. I was just at school today. I was just minding my own business. I didn't want to play basketball with the other kids, so I just went over and I just took out a Bible and I just started praying by myself. I wasn't bothering anybody. I just started praying. I was just like thinking about Jesus and praying. And then these gay kids came over and they just started harassing me. They just said my haircut was lame and that only douchebags tuck in a polo shirt. Why are they so mean? And the kid runs upstairs and his mother's like trying to comfort him. It's like, but son, are you sure you're a Christian? Well, thank you very much for your time. My name is Shawn Barron. Enjoy the rest of the night.